Welcome to the Think Self-Publishing podcast, where we talk all things self-publishing, making money online, and reaching your goals. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you sign up for the free video seminar, Confessions of a Self-Publisher, and discover 7 powerful rules for publishing in today's competitive marketplace. Go to thinksp.net/confessions to join. Now here's your host, James, and let's get started with the show.
Welcome to the Think Self-Publishing podcast, episode 5. In this episode, we will be talking about the main publishing platforms that you should be using. And you should be using these platforms if you're currently publishing, or these are the main platforms you'll be using when you get started publishing. Okay, the platforms we'll be discussing are Kindle Direct Publishing and Createspace, and we'll be talking about the differences between both of these two platforms in a self-publishing business. Now, I know any person with any amount of experience in self-publishing, they might roll their eyes at the topic and think that it's obvious information, but the reality is this information is not obvious for people who are completely new to self-publishing as a business. And I'll also say that there are a lot of people that I still see to this day who will publish Kindle ebooks and they won't submit the same content to Createspace, okay? So, and when I see this, I really roll my eyes because it's pretty much a no-brainer that you should be publishing to both platforms if you want to be serious about self-publishing and make the most money with self-publishing. And I really wish that I could buy the accounts of these people who are only publishing to one platform, because pretty much overnight I could double the income that they're making by just submitting the same content to both platforms. So let me explain. Kindle and Createspace are 2 separate platforms that allow you to submit documents to them. Okay? Once you submit your document, so it could be a Word document, right? Once you submit your document to both platforms, right, the content that you submitted, that document you sent, is going to be made available for sale on Amazon.com. Okay? When you publish, you can submit your books to both platforms. And when you submit your books to Kindle, your book is made available for sale as a digital ebook. And when you submit your book to Createspace, the book is made available as a print paperback book. So saying the word Kindle or KDP or Kindle Direct Publishing is basically saying the same thing. It means making a document available for sale as a digital download on Amazon.com. Saying Createspace means making a document available for sale on Amazon, but as a printed paperback. So when you're self-publishing, you should be submitting your books to both platforms, especially if you're publishing nonfiction books. And I recommend that anyone who's just getting started with self-publishing, I recommend that they get started with nonfiction books. Okay, and so if you're publishing nonfiction books, then in my opinion and in my experience, if you're publishing nonfiction books, most of your money is going to be made on Createspace. Okay, so you definitely should be publishing on both platforms because most of the money you'll make will be on Createspace if you're doing nonfiction books. So I would say personally, probably 3/4 of my income comes from print sales, and the remaining 1/4 of the income comes from Kindle. Okay, so 3/4 of my income comes from Createspace, and 1/4 of the income comes from Kindle, right? So again, that means 3/4 of the income is from printed books, and then 1/4 is from digital downloads. So if I was not publishing on both platforms, I would have had to stop self-publishing a long time ago because the money I would have been making would have not been enough. Okay, so if I was just publishing on Kindle, like I see a lot of people doing, and they're just publishing digital ebooks, if I was doing that, I would have had to have quit a long time ago because I wouldn't be making enough money. Okay, because most of the money I make comes from printed paperback sales, and I'm pretty sure if you're doing nonfiction, you're going to experience this as well. Most of your money will come from the sales of people buying the printed version of the book. So if you're not publishing on both platforms and making your books available digitally and physically as a printed book, then you should stop the podcast right now. You should open your Createspace account and you should spend the next week or two, depending on how many books you have. You should spend the next week or two uploading your content to Createspace, okay? Because realistically, your income is going to significantly increase from doing this, especially during the holiday season, okay? So when Q4 comes around, the months of October, November, December, you're going to make a lot more money. You're going to make a lot of money, really, because people like buying printed books for gifts and things like that. So you definitely want to make sure all your content is on both platforms. Now, there are some specifics related to submitting your book to CreateSpace. Like, for example, your document should be submitted as a PDF. Your cover should be submitted as a PDF. And also you have to select the trim size for your book, which is basically like the size of it's the width and height of the actual physical book. But besides these things, like, it's pretty much straightforward and it's almost as simple as submitting the same content to Kindle. So if you have any questions, post a comment and I'll try to answer them. I'm going to try to really respond to everyone and answer every question that's asked. So if you have a question, post a comment below. But for now, make sure you're submitting your books to both platforms, because if you're not doing that, you're definitely leaving money on the table. If you enjoyed the podcast and you found some value in it, then I recommend that you go to thinksp.net/confessions, okay, and you sign up to get the free video seminar, Confessions of a Self-Publisher, where I talk about 7 rules that I've learned over the last 2 to 3 years of publishing that I think will really improve your chances with self-publishing, especially if you haven't gotten started yet. So go to thinksp.net/confessions to get Confessions of a Self-Publisher, and stay tuned for more episodes.